Welcome down to the Devon Koi Pond on another beautiful day. We're on a Saturday today, but absolutely lovely. We've had a really nice week. Temperatures have been up again, amazing through the week, averaging over the other side of 20, 21, 22 some days, but the nighttime temperatures have really been falling. Air temperature's been down to low in the morning of about 4 or 5 degrees, so the pond temperature's been bouncing a fair bit, which hasn't made the fish that happy. We've had temperature sort of peaking at about 21.5 to 22 and dropping overnight down to about 18.5, 19. So the temperature's fair been fluctuating, and I've really been thinking about putting the covers on the pond to stop the fluctuation, but any day now this nice weather's going to disappear and it'll steady out to a slow decline into the winter temperatures. I was thinking about putting the cover on to stop this bounce, but I think I'm just going to hold off and see what happens. Now, the other week I did the video on the filter speeds and everything, and I also had the competition. Now on that video I showed me hoovering the veg filter out, and somebody commented on why didn't I just drain it. Well, I do have a drain on it. I'll take you over to a shot of that in a minute, but I've got fry in the tank, so that was the reason for not using the drain. If I turned the drain on, I could have sucked all the fry up. Normally I just stir it around in there a bit with the filters off, open the gate valve and let 300 gallons go, and use that as a water change. That gets all the dirt out of it. But this year I just can't do that with a small fry in there. They'll all be off down the bottom pipe and they'll be gone. But this week we're going to carry on a bit of the second part of the winterization of a pond. I'm going to show you the polycarb covers down here in a second, and I'm got to clean them and get them all ready to go over the pond for the winter. It seems like hopefully it'll be a way off yet. Fingers crossed another 3-4 weeks, but could be sooner. We'll have to see. I'm going to show you inside the filters as well. Now, I've got no lagging on any of my pipes because everything's kind of internal, but I'll show you around now in a second and describe what's going to happen as I do it. So over here on the main part of the filters, they're all covered over, so really they're in a shed, so none of the pipework is insulated, everything is covered over, it's roofed over and inside, so I'm not going to lag anything over here. I will be having a cover go over the veg filter, so I've either got to extend the height of the existing board I had with some sides, or cut it all down to level. We'll see about doing that in the next few weeks as well. You can see the strange plants that I had in the pond here I was hoping would do well, haven't, which were some sunflowers. For some reason they just don't seem to have caught up, but I've got to get in here and chop all this about. As you can see, the tomatoes are finally ripening. I've got some absolute beauties on what is a weak looking plant really, but I'll be picking them within the next week and having a good chop down in here. Probably the last thing that I'll cut about will be the lilies, as they die off, but they need a drop in the water temperature to start to go. So as said, all the filters up here are covered over. The ones down here are roofed over, the vortex and everything. Now this top here will actually get a plastic sheet over the top that lifts up with the lid to waterize it, so the water isn't running down through into the filters, because it's got gaps in at the moment to let the air in. But this little bit gets a sheet of plastic over the top. I've brought the polycarb sheets up because I was really thinking this week about possibly covering it over to stop the water temperature bounce. So they're up here ready to be cleaned off. It's only 10mm thick polycarbonate I've got on it. It's not thick sheets.
this was all I could afford at the time. I wish I could have afforded slightly thicker sheets, but 10 mil does the job. They've just been given a bit of freshwater shrimp, and they really like that. I've got a pot I've got to get rid of before autumn and winter sets in too much, so they're having a bit of a treat at the moment and seem to be enjoying it. Let's go up a bit higher and have a proper look above them. They really love those freshwater shrimp. Quite a treat for them. So, as I was saying, this one all gets winterized with a plastic top over it, so everything's boxed in here. Goes over the veg filter and out. This one will die back quite a bit more. As you can see, there's a lot of dead stuff in here that wants to come off, and it doesn't take too much to get it out. And there's my drain for the veg filter there. But this monkey's face, Mimbulus nimbulus, will grow on through the winter under the cover. But obviously I can't let it get this to this size, and the grass will be chopped right down completely, and it'll give me a chance to clean out the alpha grog pot that I've got in the bottom, which will also need a good bit of cleaning. Well, that will be my winterization. I do like the look of those tomatoes over there. They're looking like they're going to be a lovely red colour. Just hoping they're as juicy and succulent as they're looking. Those fish really do love those freshwater shrimp. So that's what all the bits on the water are at the moment. Tend to break up a bit in the tub and you end up with a lot of small bits. So let them fire it off and eat them while they can. Then I'll wick the skimmer back on over here. In fact, I'll do it now, and it can suck up the rubbish off the bottom of the pond. So that's the skimmer back on. You can see here the reason for me moving the pond from down the bottom of the garden. It's nothing like having a tree overhanging your pond, dropping all its leaves into it. It was bad enough yesterday with the wind we had as well, dropping them all over my lawn. But they used to fall all in the pond when they were down here. I got enough of them in the pond up at this level. Up here they still seem to work their way up here. But my pond down the bottom of the garden was there before somebody considerately planted the tree 6 inches off the hedge. So, right, hope you enjoyed that little walk around the pond down there and what I'm doing with my system. Bit windy today, so there's probably a bit of wind blow on the mic. I do apologise for it. It's slightly unavoidable, but there. The covers that I've got then will be going on anytime soon. It's going to be depressing when I put them on. I'm not looking forward to it. I'll probably cover the pond first and then chop the veg filter down and back in a week or two after that, which will also be very depressing. I've got my tomatoes over there, which I'm looking forward to trying. I haven't had a single one off of there yet or tried them. I do eat a lot of things out the veg filter. The watercress, as you notice in the pond's all gone now. I hooked that out the other day. Had a bit of an attack of
the cabbage white butterflies laid eggs all over it, so cabbage white caterpillars all over the damn things. They must have loved it because they munched it to bits, and that was decided it was time for that to go. So that's the reason that's gone. Hope you're thinking about your pond for winter now, as most people are. If you're taking a pond into the winter for the first time, please do your research. You can make a lot of mistakes, and your water can end up very chilly if we get a cold blast like a beast from the east. You want to prepare your pond for winter, which includes cleaning all your filters through. Everything wants to be spotless before you go into winter. The pond wants a good clean hoover vac. All your filters want going through cleaning spotlessly all the way through, so the system's whisker clean, because your bio's going to die off through the winter. Very few systems will maintain, unheated, will maintain a biomass of any amount through the winter, because the water's just too cold for it to do anything. So spotlessly clean on your filters to get yourself through the winter. You're going to be relying on water changes to handle the ammonia, nitrite and nitrate, to bring all those within check. You're only going to be feeding your fish a little bit of wheat germ, so everything should run fine and tick over through the winter. All you've got to do is keep your eye on your fish, any that are vulnerable. I've got a few that suffer from carp pox. I've got 2 of the smaller fish in the pond that are probably might grow out of it through this winter, but they went into last winter and the pox comes up on them. I've got 1 fish that I've had for over 10 years. That one's got a slight growth on its mouth as well, which I keep on meaning to have a look at and treat, but it doesn't seem to affect the way it eats. But that fish has had carp pox since it was this long, and it's this long now, and it's still got carp pox. Some of them seem to grow out of it, some of them don't, but winter time's the time for that to kick in and really start to go. Your parasites should die back in the winter if you do have any anyway. If you show any signs of parasites through the winter, it can be a nightmare because the water temperatures are so low. Treating it at low temperatures can be a right pain in the butt. But what speed you can run your pumps at in the winter? Now generally you can slow your pump system down in the winter, because you're not doing anything biological with the filters. They just aren't working, so you're only mechanically cleaning the water, taking the dirt out of it. And if you're not feeding much, which you shouldn't be, you should only be on wheat germ food, then haven't got much to mechanically clean out of it, so you can slow your filters down. Right, now taking the water from the bottom of the pond, if you can avoid it, is slightly better. You want to take the water from higher up, because in the water column, the water at the top of the pond will be colder than the water at the bottom. But that said, the dirt also settles at the bottom, so you need to be able to take it from the bottom as well. But on better days, when the temperature nearly matches across the pond, I run most of my water in the winter through the skimmer line, which I can actually detach the skimmer and draw it into the wall there about 18 inches down. So most of the winter I'm running at that, and I stick a timer on the bottom drain, and I can pump water up from there once a day for about half an hour to an hour. I run it depending on how cold the temperatures are. If it's really cold, then I just don't. There's no need to draw any from the bottom, but it gives that degree maybe of warmer on the bottom, or maybe 2 degrees warmer at the very bottom of the pond, where all the fish will be hanging around. So winter time, when you're running those pumps, they are only mechanically cleaning. Your bio's doing nothing, so you can turn the speed of them down so it's just mechanically cleaning the water. So if you've been turning over summertime 6,000 or 8,000, you can probably take it down to around 3,000 or 4,000. There's no need to push all that water through the pond and stir the water up that much, because you'll end up with an even temperature across the pond, with all the water levels measuring the same temperature, and no warm layer on the very bottom, which isn't doing you a lot of good really. You might get an extra degree or 2 down at the bottom over the water at the top, which is a bonus for those of us that run heated. So consider that, turning your pump speed down in the winter. I do quite a bit here. Vortex, I'll actually take the easy out. There's no point in having it in there. I'll just put a center exit pipe in there, because it's going up into the easy pods, so I'll pull the rubbish out with that. That's 1 less pump to run, so that's 25 watts less that's going round. I'll probably run just on the skimmer, like I say, for the entire week, barring half an hour a day where the bottom drain will kick in and draw just to pick up any sediment that is on the bottom, and then it'll shut off again.
So if you've got the option to draw water from another place into your filters other than the bottom of the pond, please try it. It'll should give your water temperature a slight bump, keep it up that little bit and improve things. These series of winter videos, the next one probably will be me putting the covers on, because I can see it happening now before the school half-term break, which is the time that I normally cover it over, but I'm getting a lot of leaves from next door's tree going into the pond. They're just blocking the skimmer up all the time. So maybe the next video I'll actually be putting the covers on. So thanks to all those that subscribe to the channel, way past 350 now, and it's climbing. Absolutely fantastic. I'm delighted. Hopefully pretty soon we can push our way on to 1,000. It would be absolutely amazing to get to 1,000. I'll be over the moon. So look after your pond. Winter's coming. Think about covers, think about heat if you can afford it, and we'll catch you all in another video. Bye for now.